All right, so the moon today. We're in this series of planets. Yesterday we talked about the sun, which is the outside, extroverted, outside focused aspect of the self. And today we're going to talk about the moon, which is equally as important and in fact very much opposite that sun energy. So if you look up at the sky, you've got two bodies. They're the largest bodies in the sky, the sun and the moon, both very important aspects of the self, where the sun is the extroverted outer awareness. You've got the moon, which is the receptive inner awareness. So this is all about emotion. You know, if you look at the moon, there's two notable characteristics, and I'm sure a whole lot more if you analyze it. But the moon, for one, is always variable, right? She's always changing. She might be a new moon one day, then a few days later she'll be a first quarter moon, or then maybe a full moon. And she controls the tides on the earth. So she's very much linked with water. She literally controls the water retention of the earth and of ourselves physiologically. So every 29 days we're going through this cycle with the moon. So that's essentially what she symbolizes, is the water energy, and that's a very good way of looking at it. So where the sun's fire, its passion, its focus, its intent, the moon is receptive, it's nurturing, it's acceptance, it's emotional, it's comfort. It is security, emotional security, or emotional insecurity, because it's always changing. And oftentimes, too, it's the thinking patterns, but not so much thinking like rational thought like Mercury, but emotional thinking. What are we normally concerned with? So if you think of the sun, outside focus, you've got the moon, which is inside internal concern. So you can look at the house placement, the sign placement of the moon, and get the, sort of feminine or internal personality of the individual. If, for example, you've got the moon in the second house is about the material aspects of life. Moon here would be someone who's concerned about the material things, maybe the finances, the good meal, when things are beautiful around the person, when there's that good meal, the aromas, there's beauty around them, they feel good emotionally. They feel rooted, and they're naturally concerned about these things. So it might be up one minute, down the next, this emotion, that emotion. It's very variable with the moon energy. And it's not the type of personality that you necessarily see instantly in an individual. It usually takes time getting to know them, usually as they open up a little bit, and as you spend more time with them. Time is a big element with the moon. So when you're with them and you see them in their varying shades, you'll get a pretty good idea of what their house and sign placement might be. And the sign placement is essentially the characteristics. So for example, like Scorpio moon, for these individuals, things have to have that quality of Scorpio, which is deep, which is intense, deep emotional connections, intense emotional connections, these kinds of things. The truth, if they, if things are hidden, if there isn't that honesty, that rapport, that openness, then they feel like something's, not right. So they have to have that, whether it's with relationships or if it's with their career. Their career, for example, has to be meaningful, but mostly the personal, more feminine aspects of life, which is like the home life and things like that. So it's water, it's the water retention, it's the ebb and flows, it's caring, nurturing. How does the person care? How does the person nurture? And what are they accepting about? Because the moon fundamentally is about acceptance. That's what nurturing is when you trace it back far enough. Because we have to accept the way we feel. We have to accept other people for the way that they are, or certain situations for the way that they are. And that essentially is what the moon represents. So inner personality, oftentimes too, is it's quite secure. It's a private aspect of the self. But through time, we do open up through our relationships and whatnot, and you can start to see those qualities. But definitely for yourself, if you're looking up your moon, house, or sign placement, you should know quite easily. You should resonate quite easily with those sign and house characteristics. All right, so hopefully this helps, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow for Mercury. Take care.